Hello, everyone. Welcome to Ambitious Entertainment. Today we have a special guest, Liv Roscoe, on Ambition Amplified today. So it is such a pleasure to have you here. I just wanted to start by kind of diving into your background and what you got you
Sure.
started in music.
Perfect. Sounds good. Hey everybody, my name is Liv Roscoes. I've been an artist, vocalist, violinist, and curator for about 15 years in Chicago. And getting into music, all of my family is very musical. My mom was in a rock band in college, and my dad was also a videographer. So just grew up around a lot of talent. My sister plays the keys and sings. So just really grew up around like music my whole life.
For sure. That is so interesting. So were they big like musical influences on you? And like, do you think you can hear them in your music today?
Yeah, definitely. So one thing I'm really super grateful to my mom about is that each of us at some point had to like learn an instrument or at least try to learn an instrument. I think like the idea behind that is even if we didn't stick with it, it was just like the discipline that it takes when you learn how to sing or how to play an instrument, just the time, the dedication. And so, yeah, I learned how to play violin. My sister plays guitar and keys. My other sister played guitar for a while. My brother played guitar. So we all
Wow.
kind of grew up around music and learning it. And, some of us stuck with, I have six siblings. Five siblings, excuse me, three sisters and two brothers. So we all at some point had to learn an instrument, which I'm super grateful for because it taught me a lot of like discipline and obviously like I took it and into a career. But
Yeah, for
yeah,
sure.
definitely, yeah, super grateful for that.
Did you just do violin, or were there any other ones that you had started out with and decided maybe you didn't like those ones?
So I just know violin. I started with a little bit of guitar, and I still to this day want to learn guitar because as a vocalist, I was just talking to another violinist about this. It's hard to play and sing at the same time. Like it's not really possible because you have to use like your
Sure.
chin to be able to play violin. So I would love to learn guitar so I can accompany myself during sets. And that's
Hmm.
something I did do piano a little bit growing up, but it was just kind of like always my sister's thing, and she would play keys,
Mhm.
I would play violin, so I didn't really stick with that. But I still feel like I have a lot of growth when it comes to music, and a lot I still want to learn. So I think guitar is definitely something I still want to learn.
Sure. And that sounds like so much fun being in like a musical house like that. Like, did you guys do like music together, like
Yeah,
sing songs and stuff like that?
I was thinking about this the other day. So my mom, I was just like thinking about how I got into curation because I'm also professionally I'm a curator and I run my own business.
Mhm.
But I kind of always realized like I was doing that in some sense, even growing up, because my mom would have us put on like family concerts or like fundraisers. Like we would market it out, we would invite our friends, like we would put on shows together as a family and like practice. My mom, was a vocalist, so she would sing, she plays guitar, so we would kind of do it all together. And I was like, that kind of started my curation journey, was just like putting on family shows.
Yeah, like you knew who you were from a young age. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I'm just kind of wondering what is something that's like unexpected that influences your sound today? Something that people might not
um,
think about.
yeah. So when I was trying to think of what year it was. I think I was 9 or 10. My first ever CD was a Kirk Franklin CD that my aunt gave me, and I listened to that CD like back to back to back to back to back. So growing up, I actually listened to a lot of different types of music. Like I listened to gospel music, I listened to BB King. I listened to obviously like the pop girlies like Natasha Bedingfield and Britney and
Yeah.
all those different folks, and then like Carole King, so like folk, bluegrass, Alison Krauss. So I listened to so many different types of music and different influences growing up, um, that I felt like that lends to my music now. And I think something I'm exploring as an artist is not putting myself in a box. Like I can do pop, I can do soul, I can do jazz, I can do R&B. Like I can do it all, and I can do it the way I want to do it, and just have it be myself. So I think that's something unexpected, is that, I listen to a lot of different types of music growing up, so it influences like how I show up with my sets.
For sure. I was also wondering about that. Like, what do you think your next, I don't know, if you had to switch genres or move to another one, what would you be interested in doing, like branching out?
Yeah, so right now my genre is definitely like jazz, pop,
Mhm.
kind of soul, neo soul, jazz, pop, neo
Mhm.
soul. I really like been
That.
thinking about when I was like, I feel like every millennial, because I'm a little bit older, every millennial went through like the rock emo, kind of like that type of grunge phase. Like it doesn't matter who you are, what background you are, we all went through that little phase, I feel like, in the 2000s. And so I've been re-listening to a lot of like Paramore and Evanescence, and I definitely would like to do like some rock pop covers and kind of that music, because I think it's fun. And I used to skateboard growing up. I used to be a skate girl and love that culture. And so I think I would like to do like at least one rock or one kind of Paramore Evanescence mashup
I
situation.
could totally see
So
that. From what I've heard of your music, I think your voice would sound so amazing on like a nice rock beat.
yeah, yeah. So I definitely want to like try something like that, because I haven't really done something like that. So I think that would be fun.
For sure. And then, are you originally from Chicago?
No, no, I'm not. So I was actually born in California. And
Okay.
then my parents were both like in the industry in California. And then they really kind of didn't want to be in the industry anymore. My dad felt like there was like a lot of corruption being in the industry, and they were just tired of it. And so
Yeah.
they actually moved like as far away from the industry as possible. And they moved to Montana, like on the
Mhm.
border, like close to Canada. And so
Mhm.
I grew up a lot of my life in like Northwest Montana. And then I lived overseas for a while, in the Czech Republic, and then I moved to Chicago. So I've been in Chicago about 16 years, 15, 16 years
Okay.
on the West Side. So I feel like Chicago is the most home to me now.
Mhm.
But definitely like traveled around and have different roots in various places.
That's so interesting. The Czech Republic, do you think that has any influence on your sound or anything?
Yeah, that's interesting you say that. So when I was in the Czech, I feel like I played a lot more violin, and
Mhm.
I would do like a lot of jam sessions. Like they have like a pub culture is a big thing there. A lot of times people will be out in like their gardens in the evening, and a lot of like folk kind of influence
Mhm.
there. So definitely kind of some of that sound over there. And then I actually toured overseas with a couple of friends in like 2017. I was touring in like Poland. So yeah, it definitely like kind of that folk sound I feel like comes from like doing music there.
Oh, that's interesting. Could you tell me a little bit about your experiences touring?
Yeah, so this is like a very random story how this came about, but to make a long story short, I got invited to go to Poland through a group that was actually like the Count of Poland, and like people that were related to like the royal family there.
Oh,
It's a long story, but there's some of the family like in the U.S., and they do a tour every year called the Von Prominence Tour. And so it was me, C.W. Allen, which is a Southside based hip hop artist, and DJ Monroe, who's been a DJ in the city for years. And we were touring there. We went to, I think, like 10 different cities. It was like a 7-day tour. Phenomenal experience. I feel like people overseas have a bigger appreciation and respect for music than folks in the US. And I think that's because, especially in Poland, like they went through communism. So there was years where they weren't allowed to listen to music or have access to media. And so I mean, as an independent artist from Chicago, like you went there and there's like 1,000 to 2,000 people at your shows, right? And people were really invested, really excited. So yeah, we toured different castles. We were like meeting Prince. It was. I felt like it
Wow.
was something out of a movie. Like it does. It didn't feel like a real experience. It was
Yeah,
super random, amazing, and like I feel like a one in a lifetime experience. So
I'm sure.
yeah,
That sounds like so
it
much
was
fun.
crazy, but it was super fun. And I went with two other, like there was a blues band that went from some place in the US, and then like a rock band. So it was like blues rock. I had a little like, you know, soul, and then R&B, and then hip hop. So it was like a combination of different artists from the US.
Yeah, that sounds so fun. What do you think your biggest takeaway from that was? Did you learn anything from touring? You're like, I'm gonna remember this forever.
Yeah, I think I honestly learned that like after that experience, I was like, I don't, my desire isn't to be like a massive artist and like be famous and tour. Like that experience to me, even though it was an independent tour, like it was so exhausting. I mean, we were doing two to like three shows a day and traveling, but I was just like, I don't want to do this, and I couldn't do this. Like I don't have the capacity or the energy. And then I think from there I realized like I really enjoy, just as much as I like performing, I really enjoy curating for artists. I really enjoy like facilitating shows. I really enjoy like the local live music scene. And the reason I do, you know, music and I do art is to impact people and to change lives. Like it's not with this idea to like become famous. And if I get the chance to tour again, like I totally would, but I just realized from that experience it's exhausting. Like I I only went a week, and I was like, "Oh, this is not like I wouldn't want to be doing this like day in, day out at that level of touring." So, yeah, I think I was like, "Oh, yeah, like this is what I want to do." And then when I actually did it, I was like, "Nah, this is
Yeah.
not for me."
I think it's really interesting that you're talking about like how your music and how your work like lands with your audience because I was just kind of wondering like how important is it for your music like when you're making your music to think about how it will land with audiences like if it'll get popular or if you're more so doing it from a place of passion.
Mhm. Yeah, so I think about like Solange and artists like Erica Badu and different people that I feel like, you know, kind of broke out of the lane of like, I'm doing this to become a pop star, to become famous, and I'm just gonna like, that's my lane. I think it's like they stay very true to who they were, to their
Mhm.
lived experience, to thinking outside of the box and creating music where they felt it made like a difference in people's lives or that was more experimental, you know, and them really like kind of fighting against the industry of like, well, I only can write this type of song because it's popular or it's gonna make the charts or it's gonna do this and that. I think for me, I've really always tried to stay true to myself, my lived experience, you know, my faith, just everything that lends to like, I want to make music that makes people feel something, that challenges people, that convicts people. I've had people often tell me like, wow, I've never, you know, your music has made me cry, or your music really made me like self-reflect. And for me, like that's more important than, oh, this song got like a million streams or whatever. And I'm not saying that I think that's like a bad, like, yes, I think that like you should be striving for excellence, and you should be striving to like market yourself as, you know, an artist and a business. But for me, it's never been about like blowing up. It's been about, does my music make you feel something? Does it impact you? And ultimately, like, does it make a change in your life? A small story of this is one of my first songs, Lies. I had a former student, because I used to work in CPS system, say that, you know, she was kind of struggling with suicidal ideations, and that song like brought her out of that place. And for me, I'm like, that's more impactful hearing a story like that of how my music has touched somebody than, you know, if it got this many streams on Spotify,
Yeah.
or I have this many followers on Instagram. So for me, yeah, it's always been about the impact, the influence, like how is it really um, made people think and challenge people and help people grow.
Yeah, that's so beautiful. I feel like that would, if I was like making like artist music stuff, just people's experiences would be so motivating.
Yes, yes. So that's kind of why I feel like I have to keep performing and keep, writing music and work on another project. Is just like hearing the feedback from different people.
Mhm. And you're saying you said new project. Are you in the works of something right now?
Yeah, so I dropped a project last April, which I'm honestly like still promoting. I think something that a lot of independent artists, I can't speak for big industry artists, but a lot of independent artists, it's like they forget to continue to like promote their project. Like you can continue to promote one project for up to a couple of years, like
Yeah.
present it in different ways, have music videos in different ways, get press out there. But it's a lot of time and energy to get a project out. And I think oftentimes as independent artists without a lot of resources, it's like, okay, I'm exhausted, I'm depleted, I put this project out, now I just want to like take a nap. It's like, no, you got to keep promoting your project. So I think I'm at the point now where, it's been out for a while and I want to start writing. I want to start, getting back into the studio and start dropping singles again. So it's definitely there. I think for me, it's always the balance of, being an independent artist myself, and then also professionally being a curator. I'm, helping project manage other artists. I'm helping produce events. I'm doing a lot besides just performing. So
Yeah.
learning how to balance like other people's artistic careers and my own career. I think that's the challenge. I'm constantly reminded, like, no, you need to get back to why you became a curator is because you're artist first.
Yeah,
So it's always like the cycle of trying to figure out the balance.
for sure. And you're juggling a lot. I kind of wanted to like go over, you are so many things. Singer, songwriter, event
Yeah.
producer, event producer,
Yeah.
artist
So
manager,
I would say like
entrepreneur.
because you were like, what do you do? I'm like,
No, you do everything.
20 hats. So I always say like what kind of the umbrella of all of them is I'm a creative entrepreneur, which underneath that umbrella is I do, event production, project management for artists, curate my own event. I just put together my first ever event under my own business. It
Wow,
was
congrats.
festival last weekend on the South Side with Nights Out in the Park, Chicago, which was amazing. Um, I'm a vocalist, songwriter, violinist, wife, mom, like just wearing a lot of different hats. Yeah, so, but I think my friend Yolanda is just like,
You're doing everything.
yeah, so just trying to figure out how to balance all of those things. But I think like encompassing all those things is like I'm an artist, so anything I do is like coming out of the place of, being a creative, and I try to take that approach as I'm like working with other artists and curating events is keeping in mind. I think what makes me a good curator is that I'm an artist first. So I know what artists want. I know what they need. I know what's not helpful. I know like their struggles. So when I'm producing, I'm kind of putting on that artist hat too to say, hey, like this isn't serving the artist well in this production. So
Yeah,
I think that's like I think the best event curators and producers like they're artists first, because they understand that perspective.
I see that. I kind of wanted to go back to your latest EP, the Growing Pains one.
Yeah,
I I was just wondering what your favorite track is and why.
yeah, that's hard. I feel like they all it
I
kind of
know.
switches time to time depending on my mood. I think for me, honestly, probably Fully Known. It was the one song on the project that it took me so long to write a lot of the music. It was my debut project, took years to put out. But Fully Known was the one project I wrote like this. Like I was in the transition between quitting my full-time job and going full-time into entrepreneurship. And I had been in my car and I was praying like, God, is this something I'm supposed to do? Like, how do I do this? There was a lot of fear, like in making that transition. And it was like right away, I got the beat, I got the lyrics, I pulled over on the side of the road and I just started writing. Like it was like a download of everything that song needed to say. And the chorus says, just move, you don't have to know what's next, just move, you don't have to see ahead. And it was just talking about like sometimes when it comes to like taking that step, like you're not going to know all of the answers, you're not going to know the outcome, but you have to move forward in faith and take the first step to get to where you want to go, and like trust God in the process. So for me, that song has a lot of just depth and meaning and power to it. And so I feel like that's my favorite song that I've written, and also like a new song that I'm performing because I haven't performed it as much.
Mm, congrats. That's so interesting. So that's gonna be like your favorite lyric as well.
Yeah, that's kind of I feel like my little quote or mantra is the chorus of that song.
Um, I was just gonna ask as well, is there a chapter of your life that directly fed into the story behind Growing Pains that you'd be comfortable sharing?
Yeah, so I think because Growing Pains it developed over so many different years. That's why I named it Growing Pains, because it was like I felt like I was a different person in each chapter of my life as I was writing this project. And I feel like so many times I gave up. I stopped and started in the process. Sometimes I was like, I don't know if I want to put this song on the project because like that's who I was 2 years ago and not now. So it was just the growing pains of like being a full-time curator and artist, trying to manage all of the things, trying to still continue to write music, and just knowing that like the growing pains of like just timing too, and knowing that like you're never too late. What is for you. God's timing is perfect in all things, and just being reminded of like even if I was like, oh, I should have put this project out 2 3 years ago, like it still has the same impact now. And the timing it was supposed to come out was divine timing, and just trusting that process. So yeah, I feel like now that I've released Growing Pains, I can start to really get into like fresh and new music. Yes, never too late. Yes. I can get into fresh and new music that kind of is like in this new era of my life versus like a combination of so many different years and so many different experiences.
For sure. I liked hearing about your process of like, I never really thought about it. If it takes you longer, like you're like reflecting back on, is this really me anymore? Like, should I
Yes.
still put this out? Were there a lot that you left out of the album or the EP?
No, it wasn't a lot I left out, but like the songs changed. So for instance,
Mm-hmm.
like I had written a song right when I was like pregnant with my daughter, and then it was like it took so long to put that together that it was like then, I was putting it out when she was 3 years old, something like that, where it was like I felt like the songs had to shift and develop and change. It wasn't like the first um iteration of the song that I would have put out originally. And so that's what felt challenging. But I had an absolute amazing producer who's been a good friend of mine for years. We went to school together, and he literally like worked with me on this album throughout the years. Like, and we kind of were dealing with similar experiences. Like we both got married around the same time. We both had our first child around the same time. So there was a lot of like patience and grace, and just even like him knowing that like what was a season that I needed to take a step back. Like I had lost a friend, a really good friend, during COVID, and during that time like I couldn't write the project, I couldn't work on it, I was grieving. And I actually wrote like a three song EP called Lessons in Grieving, Lessons of Grief, and kind of just put it out on SoundCloud. Like I never really like promoted it, but it was just therapeutic. And so during that time I like completely stopped working on Growing Pains because I just couldn't, I wasn't in a place to continue to work on that project.
Yeah.
So I think artists like finding a really good producer that can find the balance of like pushing you but also knowing when you need space and time is very, very important.
That's beautiful. Speaking of like collaborating with artists and things like that. Is there any favorite that you've worked with so far, or one that you want to look forward to seeing a collaboration?
Yeah, so I mean, I've worked with my good friend CW Allen. I haven't actually really like had a lot of songs where I've had features. I just curated a show last night and booked an artist, Bryce Malik, which he knows who he is. He's an amazing violinist. And I would love to, I just hit him up today because I would really love to have him and his band kind of do some like violin, like instrumental work with me singing. So I would love to do like a collaboration with him. I have a couple other people, D Lyles, who just put out a project, Hidden Gems. I would love to do something with him. So I have some people in mind for an upcoming project.
Very nice. Um, so you are involved in a lot of events, a lot of music, and putting together events. I was thinking about like the Overflow Coffee and Overflow
Yeah.
After Dark Productions. And I was just wondering, what's your favorite part about being involved in those local spaces
Mhm.
and like helping them build a platform, helping smaller artists build a platform too?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think for me, the reason I got into curation was honestly out of like irritation and frustration as an artist myself. I remember one of my first shows, and I will not name the space, but one of my first shows, I had spent so much time rehearsing, like getting everything together. I was dropping my single, I was super excited. I show up to the venue, and I mean, like me as an artist, I'm setting up the sound. There wasn't a designated sound engineer. They hadn't really promoted the event. Like it was just chaotic. It wasn't organized. And walking out of that space being so disappointed. Like I didn't even get paid for that show. I was doing an exposure show. And I was like, was terrible. And I remember like walking out of the space feeling like I should not have to spend all the time rehearsing, being the artist, being the promoter, and then getting to a space and nobody knows what's happening. Like it just I felt so depleted. And I remember saying, if I'm ever in a position of leadership or curation, I want to be able to make sure, and this has always been my motto, that anytime people interact with me as a person or as a curator or come into the spaces that I'm, facilitating, I want to make sure they feel seen, valued, and loved. I want them to make sure that they feel like they can actually be an artist because the space has everything set up. The sound is going to be professional. They're going to be able to hear themselves. They're going to, be offered food and water. They're going to, like, it's going to feel like a professional experience. So for me, being an independent curator in Chicago, the one thing I feel like I pride myself on is having a high standard and like calling artists to that standard and calling other curators to that standard of like, yes, maybe some of these artists don't have millions of views and aren't like industry artists, but they take time, money, so much energy to put together a well curated show, and you need to also rise to the occasion. And
Mhm.
so I hope that when people come into the spaces I curate, they feel that. They feel the professionalism. They feel that like I really care about them. I take their craft seriously. I take their art seriously. And they can come into a space knowing that it's going to be like fun, professional. They're gonna get paid. Like these are basic things. And also calling them to that level of like, hey, I want to book you, but you have to send me a professional headshot that's not a selfie. You need to send me a bio. You've got to get your invoices in on time. Like, if you want to be performing on these platforms, you also need to rise to the occasion. And I'm willing to have grace and patience and even teach you in that process. But like, you have to be willing to do that. So I think, and I'm ranting, but all that to say, like, I really value excellence in all the work that I do. Like, I'm calling you as an artist to excellence. I'm calling the venues and other curators I'm working with to excellence. Like, I'm calling myself to excellence in this process, and just being like, we need to take ourselves seriously as even independent or local curators, because that's what people value and people see and pay attention to.
Yeah, I like that. I like the respect on both ends, like how you're holding the venues and these artists accountable and trying to work with all of them. But with that being said, what does like a successful event look like for you?
Yeah, so I think a successful event looks like a few things. I think it looks like the artist actually enjoying themselves and having fun on stage. I think when I see artists letting loose and being able to fully perform and let their guard down, it tells me that I've done my job as a curator. It tells me that the sound is good. It tells me that there's people in the space that are cheering them on, that are supporting them. It tells me, yeah, that I've just done my work if they're actually being able to focus on performance and focus on their artistry rather than I don't know if I can hear myself or my set's running 2 hours like or I don't know if this person's gonna pay me. So number one, it would be like the artist being able to be artists. Um, Number two, it's that, we do the work as promoters. Like we're really working to get people into a space to support these artists. Now I know like Chicago summer, right? Like you're curating, you're competing against so many things in the city. You're not always going to have a huge crowd, but it's like the artists know that I've done the work to promote and market and really platform them as artists. So that was the second thing. I think the third thing is that everybody feels appreciated in the process, right? Like the venue feels appreciated if they're vendors that, they've been promoted, that they're being able to sell things, that like everybody all across the board feels like it was a good experience, it was a vibe, it was a good time. And then I think the last thing, which probably should have been one of the first things, is that this is a safe community space. Like I will not tolerate any disrespect. I will not tolerate any, racism, homophobia, whatever it may be. Like I am not tolerating that in those spaces.
Mhm.
I intentionally curate bills where I feel like artists could collaborate with each other outside of just that bill or outside of that space. I intentionally curate a lot of intergenerational bills where, you might have an emerging artist that's, 18 coming on the scene and then a seasoned artist that's 80 and we're all on the same bill. You're learning and growing. Um, but I also will not tolerate egos. I don't care if you've been in this game 15, 20 years. If you are disrespectful, if you don't show up on time, if you don't greet the other artists, like you are not invited back to the space. So for me, character is way more important than clout. It's way more important even than talent. Like I need to know that you're a person of character if I'm booking you as an artist. If you're super talented, but you're not a quality person and you're not an artist of character, like I will probably not work with you. And that's just one of my personal values. So sorry, I just
No, for
got
sure.
me going on like a rant, but yeah, hopefully that makes sense.
That does make sense. And that's totally understandable too. Like you want to surround yourself and the people that you're working with as well with other good people. And
Yeah.
like I feel like that's very responsible of you to be the one doing that.
Yeah, and I want artists to feel safe. Like I want them to feel
Yeah.
like, wow, I was really taken care of. I was really
Mhm.
considered. And I know that like if Liv is curating events, like it's going to feel like community, it's going to feel like family, it's going to feel like I don't have to have my guard up every second to be like, who's in the space? Is this person in the space? I don't feel comfortable. I don't feel safe. And I think especially like I am always considering that perspective from being a woman in the industry as well. Like I want women to feel safe on my bills and in the spaces that I curate, and that's a priority for me.
Mhm. Is there any like learned experiences that you've taken away trying to do this? Like some things you just learned, this is not going to work for me. Maybe some way
Yeah.
of dealing with people.
Yeah, I think there's some, clients that I work with, people in the past, artists that I've booked where it was like I may have booked them because they had like a larger following or because I felt like they could draw a crowd, right? Or because they were referred or, family was some, they were supposed to be put on the bill for whatever reason. And I learned from that experience, like never to do anything out of pressure. If your
Mhm.
gut is telling you like, hey, this is probably not a person you should work with, if your conviction, is saying like, this is not how you should move forward, like listen to that because it's important. Because I've worked with artists where it's like they had that big fall and they had this and that, but they didn't work well with other people on the bill. They had an attitude, like they were super snooty, like they were difficult to deal with. And for me, I just learned right away, like, this is not, this is outside of my value. My value is always reciprocity, collaboration, community. I
Mhm.
realized that there's certain artists that don't want that. They just want to come into the space, they want to perform, they want to get paid. And I realized, like, because that's not one of my values, I probably won't work with or book artists that have that mentality. My bills are specifically like collaboration focused, community focused. I want you to get to know other people on the bill. I want you to see each other again, greet each other, potentially work on projects, start a business together. Like, I've had people really like do work outside of just the spaces I've curated. So yeah, that's a priority for me, and that's something I learned is like, I'm not gonna just book anybody because, you know, they're Beyonce. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just like, I don't care about that, and that's not why I'm doing this.
Yeah. Could you just tell me a little bit more about other like community spaces that you're involved in other than I know the Overflow Coffee and
Yeah.
that After Dark one, but tell me some more.
Yeah, so I helped like kickstart OAD Productions and work with them for many years, and now I'm working with them on a contractual basis through my own company, Live More Media. So as they call me to do
Mhm.
things, like I'll book events and shows there for them. I also work with Sam Thousand with Shybrations, and then running my own events through Live More Media. So kind of those are the three biggest spaces that I'm involved in right now. And then also did some work with New Sound Cafe on the West Side, curated some shows and events with them. So it's really kind of right now just different folks that have hit me up to kind of help curate spaces. Did some work with Golden Moment Sessions. So kind of just all around the city in different spaces at
Yeah.
the moment.
Do you have a favorite event from the year? Or so far, I guess, in the year?
Um, yeah, so I think on a month-to-month basis, like I help with the portal with Shybrations, which is an absolute amazing event series. It's at Experimental Station on the South Side. Every month is a different theme, and the whole event is focused on really highlighting curators, cultural collaborators, and artists all throughout the city. So there's, free food, vendors, there's a jam session, open mic, there's artist resources, which is really important. And then there's the time for like very interactive community work throughout the night, which I think it's the most community focused work that I've done, like in a space. Everyone's participating, everyone's moving around the space, everyone's getting to know each other, everyone's participating in the art. Their tag is like no spectators. So
Mhm.
everybody's kind of in the work. So that's been a favorite. And then personally was just, you know, curating my first ever event under my own business and really working along so many different community partners and artists and
Yeah.
sponsors to make that event happen. So I was really proud of that, and that happened last weekend.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that is so exciting. Um, I guess what do you think has been the hardest moment in your career thus far?
Ooh, girl. um, I don't know if it's like a specific moment. I would say the hardest thing that I'm continuing to learn in this is balance is very
Mhm.
hard for me because I think with event production, it's it'll take so much out of you mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically to produce these events, and then before you can really like celebrate, you're on to next, on to next, on to next. So I think for me it's really trying to figure out the balance of how do I continue momentum while also trusting God when I need, like, hey, I really need a break. Hey, I can't take clients right now. Hey, I really need to rest so that I can curate out of a space of love and care. Love and care, and not curate out of a space of like being burnout, being bitter. So I think that's the one thing like every curator struggles with is just like pacing, timing, and making sure that they're okay. Because I am learning that curation, like you're literally giving so much of yourself. It can be depleting if you're not careful. And I think if I'm being really honest, like I'm married, I have a daughter, I have a family. So it's also knowing like what are your other life priorities and how can you curate and do artistry out of a healthy place.
Mhm.
And I don't think a lot of artists do this well because to be honest, like a lot of artists really struggle with relationships. The industry lifestyle doesn't really lend for you to like be in sustainable, healthy rhythms or relationships. So trying to really go against that mold and break the mold and tell people you can be, you know, a mom, a wife, you can be a curator, you can own your own business. But like the level of discipline that you have to do this well is next level. Like
Yeah.
you cannot slack in any areas or something is going to go wrong. So that's like the hardest thing I'm constantly learning is the pacing, is the timing, knowing when to push, knowing when to slow down. And especially now, like owning my own business, there's some times where I'm like, I'm right in the beginning of this. I don't feel like I can slow down. I feel like I'm working 24/7 because I'm building something. So
Yeah.
yeah, anybody that's like, oh, I can't wait to leave my 9 to 5 to be a full-time entrepreneur, I'm like, get ready because you're gonna go from working 9 to 5 to work 24/7. So like
24/7.
are you ready for that? And like, are you ready for the level of discipline that I called you to?
Yeah. Do you have any like strict boundaries for yourself, like to keep you in that rhythm and keep the separate parts of your life from bleeding into another and like, you know?
Yeah, I was gonna say like that's something that like honestly I'm better at in certain seasons. I've been really good at it, and then there's some seasons just like I'm not good in it. But I think one area that I want to be better is like not answering texts or calls after a certain time of night. Like, no, you don't get to just text me anytime, call me anytime, and I'm like supposed to answer. Like I have to take a break from this so that I can get back to you and I can be in a good place because I know that there's times where if I'm answering people right away or constantly just working back to back to back, like I can come across to the artists that I'm working with like snippy or irritable or like just knowing like just because somebody texted me doesn't mean I need to get back to them right away. Like you can
Yeah.
wait the next morning when I'm back on my computer working on this project. But like your emergency isn't my emergency. Like you don't own every moment of my time, every moment of me being a human being. And so that's a boundary like sometimes I'm really good at, and then other times I'm not, if I'm being
Yeah.
honest. So it's kind of a continual process, and I'm still learning and arriving, if I'm being very candid.
Yeah. I mean, it's a learning process. Um, I guess, are there any industries outside of music that you're interested in kind of getting into?
Yeah, I mean, so when I went to school, I went to college for communications, and so I did work for a season in theater and kind of multimedia communications. So I really would kind of like to get back into the acting, theater, directing, script
Ooh,
writing space. I
that's so
also
interesting.
worked with a beautiful space on the west side called the Miracle Center, and they have a big event coming up in October, their anniversary celebration. But I did like costume and set design for them. I taught with them for a season. So, really trying to get into that space of incorporating different art forms besides just music. And so,
Yeah.
kind of like dipping back into that. Um,
You do style for, so did you make the costumes and things?
yes. And the crazy thing about this is I had zero, I'm talking about zero experience in like costume
Um,
design, set design. And I was like put into that role in in this theater, and I just like learned on the fly. Like I can sew a little bit, but I was like learning how to do makeup. I was learning how to
yeah.
design. I'm literally YouTubing like how do you do this? How do you do this? It's like just learning how to problem solve and did the costumes and put all this stuff together. And so now I feel like people were like, "Oh, you have good style. Like you can do this." And I was like, "I don't know what I know."
That
But
is so funny.
it
I
was
I quite
fun.
literally have a section called personal style. Like I really noticed your style and I really liked it. So that is so surprising to hear
I
that
was like,
that was like a first for you.
I was like cardboard cutting out like it was for Beauty and the Beast. So it was like uh what was it? The cupboard, the closet, I forget what her name is. The closet, the cupboard,
Oh,
for Beauty and the Beast. The wardrobe, she was like the one I was like designing that. I was like designing the clock like out of cardboard. I'm like, this is just insane. But it really pushed me to like figure it out and problem solve. So I feel like even now being a creative entrepreneur, when people are like, can you do this? I'm like, sure. And then I'm like YouTubing and
for
Googling
sure.
how to do it and figuring it out, right?
Yeah. How would you describe your own personal style
Yeah.
in maybe
So,
like 3 words?
I would say bright, um, fun, and the third one would be funky.
Funky. Now you can explain it more if you'd like. I just wanted like the first.
Yeah, I think for me, like my husband and I like going to Miami. Like that's a place we enjoy going on vacation or just if we need a reset. And Miami's colors like are very bright, are very, colorful. You can see my outfit right
I
now.
love.
I really like big chunky jewelry, earrings, and I always do lipstick. So yeah, I think I really like statement pieces. I enjoy wearing a lot of like bright, colorful pieces. And then lately, like the past 2 years, I've been really getting into like eyewear and glasses. So I've been doing like a lot of funky big frames. And then obviously like always have my signature short, either pink or blonde, but more blonde usually.
Love. I love your hair.
Thank you.
What is one trend that you cannot get behind in terms of style and fashion?
Oh man, that's
And
a
then,
hard one. I feel like I'm always like pretty like open. I'm like, if you're confident in it and you want to wear it, cool. Oh, I know one. I know one. I'm I do not like this trend of wearing like um lingerie, like clean lingerie, like in public, in the nightlife, in the club. I'm like, what are we doing? Like this is you look like you're about to go home and go to bed. Like this is and we're out here. Like I just think that's is trashy. I don't think it looks good. I think that's like one thing where I'm just like, I don't like this. I don't think this
yeah.
looks good. Like you're wearing you know what I'm talking about. And I'm like, this is clearly like not an outside outfit. I think that's the one thing I'm like,
And
it's not,
then,
not cute.
what is one that you love?
What
One
is
like current trend.
well, I always like funky pants. I always do funky pants. I dress Akira is like Akira and me are like this. I love Akira. I have like a personal stylist. Shout out to him from Akira. And so I love like the big funky flowy pants with like different designs or patches or like cute stuff like that. And then yeah, the glasses, the frames.
I do love a nice pair of glasses.
Yeah.
Do you ever let your mood like decide what you're wearing, or do you kind of have like a style and you're stuck to it like every day, like a
No,
uniform?
it's definitely like the mood of how I feel day to day.
Mhm.
Definitely. But I think the staples, I always wear earrings. Like you're never gonna see me outside of the house with usually without like a pair of earrings. And I think it's because I have short hair. I always feel like I have to like wear earrings with the short cut.
I like
And a
that.
lip. I would say even if I'm not wearing makeup, like full glam, I'm always doing at least earrings and lipstick.
Mm, I like those are I feel like those are very important staples. Maybe like a necklace too.
Yeah,
That's the same with me. I always have my lip
absolutely.
gloss and my earrings on.
The minimum. Yeah. Hmm.
Um, I guess I have some rapid fire questions. Um, you don't have to think too deep, just kind of whatever's on the top of your head. What is the last song that you've had on repeat?
Oh, Human Nature by Michael Jackson. Listening to
Okay,
7.
that is so valid. First concert you ever attended?
Oh my gosh. I honestly think it was like Us Skillet. I think it was a rock concert. I was like,
Okay.
or something.
What is always in your bag at all times?
Earrings, probably a pair of earrings or lip.
Earrings.
Yeah.
What in your opinion is the best place for music outside of Chicago?
Ooh, I haven't traveled like too much, but maybe like New York.
Mhm. Do you have a dream place to perform?
Yeah, I would like to. I would like to perform in New York or Miami.
Collaboration. I know you said you don't really do collaborations very much, but like one that you would drop anything for.
Oh, I Natasha Bedingfield. If you ever hear this, I would love to do something with her at some point in my life. Like that would be my dream. She's a big inspiration for me, and I really like her just as a human and as like an artist. So Natasha Bedingfield.
I love that. And then what do you do to relax? You have so much going on in your life. I'm very interested in hearing this.
Um, I think relax. When I get the chance, I like to go to King Spa. It's not as often as I would like to.
Mhm.
I think I enjoy like going to the studio. I really learned that like being in the studio and like just writing and being in that space of like creating for fun. I enjoy that. And I think for me, relaxing, like going out to try like new experiences or going out to even hear people perform is
Mhm.
fun to me because it's not an event that like I'm curating or I like have to do something behind.
Yeah,
If I can just like go to a speakeasy and see somebody perform, like that's fun, that's relaxing for me.
sure. Do you think this is kind of aside from the rapid fire questions, but has being like behind the scenes in the music industry like changed your view of it and like your enjoyment for it? Just because you are so
Yeah,
involved.
I think something I learned and am learning, like it's always learn and am learning, um, is that I feel like a lot of artists and curators forget like that they're human beings. And I learned this because my husband is not an artist, right? And there was times where it was like on a weekend we'll like go to a coffee shop or we'll hang around his friends that aren't artists, and I'm just like, wow, this was so nice to do like a normal human being thing, like journal, go to a coffee shop, go on a walk, like do something outside of a production, a show, an event, networking, meeting people. I'm like, I think us as artists, like we have to get better about just enjoying and like living life. Like you are a human being. You're not here to just like produce something all the time. Like it can get very exhausting and it can make you feel like you don't enjoy this. And that's where when I start to feel in curation like this is burning me out, I'm tired, like I'm not enjoying something that I once loved, that's when I know I need to take a break. I need to take time off. I need to go touch some grass. Like I need to go journal and like clean my apartment, right?
Yeah.
You can just I feel like I have a habit of like I'll I will do whatever is necessary to make an event absolutely excellent, but then it's like other parts of my life are like crumbling at the seams, and that's not
Mhm.
sustainable and that's not okay, and like that's where there has to be that aspect of balance.
Yeah, for sure. Um, what are you most excited about right now?
Honestly, I'm excited to take a break. I'm excited to take a break. I've been really going hard with curation and doing events, so I won't be doing like I will be doing some like little events here and there, but I'm not going to be doing any big events until probably like later summer, fall. And so
Mhm.
I'm excited to just spend time with my daughter this summer, being off of school. I'm
Yeah,
excited I want to do a solo trip for my birthday. I'm going to see some family and traveling. So I'm excited to just be a human being this summer, to be
yeah,
honest,
for
and like
sure.
enjoy Chicago summer.
Exactly. I've heard it's amazing. This is my first summer here, so do you have any
Oh,
recommendations?
yeah, it's gonna be. I would just say enjoy all of the free festivals.
Mm,
Enjoy. There's so much stuff. Like there was I think a house music fest at Navy Pier last night. Like, go to all the things. Get outside. Get outside because Chicago's got like 3 good months. So now's your time. Like, enjoy all the fests, go to all the fests, go to all the things, go to all the outside DJ sets, like be by the water, meet new people, go to all the networking things. So like, just be outside, be outside.
Take advantage of the summer while you can.
Yes.
And then last question, what does ambitious mean to you?
I think ambitious is, to me, means like walking in faith over fear, right? The minute you feel like you're questioning yourself and you're doubting, it's just to continue to like push forward in the things God has called you to do, and keep grinding, keep going. And just keeping faith, like even when you feel like you want to give up or it's not working. It's also longevity. It's like continuing to do it even if you don't see immediate results.
Um, And then before we wrap up, is there anything exciting you want to share with the audience? Any upcoming projects or things that they should keep an eye out for? I know you just said you're going on a break, but
Yeah.
just to put
Well, I
those
would
things
say,
out there.
I did the Live More series, and the name of the first event was Collective Abundance. I do want to continue those shows and kind of really work on my own curated events versus like curating events for other folks. So I would like to have one of those in the fall someplace. I don't know what that looks like right now, but I would say ask people to follow Live More Media, and you'll see like continual events that I'm curating or things that
Yeah,
are coming up. And then also just new music. Like, I want to put out new music, and that's something that I will be working on.
for sure. We'll be sure to keep an eye out for those. And then, um, where can our viewers find you to stay updated with you on all of those things?
Yeah, so I would say definitely Instagram is like where I'm most active. So Liv Roscoe's or at Live More Media. And then I actually just finished my website. Shout out to Vio, who did an amazing job on that as part of my team. So you can go to livroscoes.com. You can see my offerings and like everything on there right now. So yeah, those are the two places. And then if you want to stream the project Growing Pains, it's obviously on Spotify and everywhere else.
Yes, be sure to stream that. I heard a few of the songs. So good.
Thank you.
But thank you for joining us today, Liv.
Thank you so much.
It has been so fun chatting with you.
You too. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you guys also for tuning in. Don't forget to follow Liv and Ambitious Entertainment for more content and more information.